Welcome to No Small Roles. This is the show where I speak with fellow actors about their careers and about some of their smaller roles in big movies and TV, and how these roles are, in fact, not at all small for the actors who play them. Now, today's guest is someone I've never ever met, but he has been in the business for what I think is somewhere around 35 ish years. James C. Victor, welcome to the show. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Ian. It's a pleasure. Look at that. I messed up your name in the
No,
first sentence.
well, I
Ian.
wasn't even sure. Should I call you Jim or James? Or I put the C there because I think there must be another
I
James
got your
Victor.
hesitation. Yes, there was another James Victor, and I thought I would always lose the C
I think he's
after
dead.
I became more famous than him. But he died, yes, and now I'm just keeping the C.
The C is nice. I like the C. It's for it could, what's the C stand for?
Christopher.
All right,
Yeah.
James Christopher. I saw at one
James.
point you went by JC.
Yes, I was in New Orleans and I went by JC, and everyone seemed to love JC. And then I was like known as JC, and yeah, I mean it was an easy, catchy thing to remember.
Maybe you sounded like a DJ or a rapper when you were like, I'm
Yeah.
JC Victor. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe
Yeah,
not.
JC Victor. I just wasn't used to people calling me that, but it's like I guess a nickname. But I saw one of your interviews where you were talking about how with your brother, and your last name is your mother's maiden name.
That's true.
Yeah. And I thought of doing that at one point because my mother's maiden name is McDermott, and I thought I look Irish, and I am half Irish. And should I go by? But I mean, I don't know. I walk in the door and it's like Jimmy McDermott. I don't know.
I like Victor just because it sounds victorious. It just sounds very strong. I don't know. I just went with my mom's maiden name, not for actor reasons, but
Right. Yeah.
I dig it. So do I call you Jim, Jimmy, James?
Yeah. Call me Jim. Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna call you Jim.
I like Jim. Yeah.
Jim, thank you for doing this.
Yeah,
So everyone knows you from, as I said, you've been in this business for 67 years. And
yes.
no, I'm kidding. Like 35 years. So we know you from a lot of things like Cheers, Quantum Leap, 90210, Executive Decision, Jag, ER, Seventh Heaven, Dr. Vegas, 24, Monk, Bones, The Cleaner, The Mentalist, CSI New York, Castle, Hawaii Five-0, 12 Years a Slave, NCIS LA, The Stanford Prison Experiment, SWAT, Augie, Wild West Chronicles, and the list goes on, but there is just a few because that list is huge.
Well, thank you. Yeah, 35 years. It took a long time to make that list.
No, but you were like in every big show that I can think of in the past in that amount of time. So it's pretty impressive.
No, it was, I mean, those are awesome shows to be on, and I was very grateful to book them. I mean, it's hard to, I mean, it's not easy to book a role, as we all know.
No.
Yeah.
And especially you are LA based, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, now I'm going back and forth between Las Vegas and LA, which is close. Okay. It's a 4.5 hour car ride, but
not bad.
45-minute plane ride. But I'm here helping my dad, so I go back and forth.
Oh. Yeah, actually, well, that brings me to my next question, because obviously I saw that you cook with your dad. And so this might be below you, but do you prefer grilled cheese with or without tomato?
Definitely with tomato. I am a foodie, and tomato's the way to go. Yeah.
And are you one of those fancy tomato people now that I've learned what that is? Like the heirloom tomatoes?
Heirloom tomatoes. I did hear Mike say Jersey tomatoes. They are the best. So I do back that up.
I'm going to have to try them. I'll have to go to Jersey.
Yeah. But, I mean, sometimes it's hard when I'm in Vegas to find really good tomatoes. I go with the beefsteak tomatoes, but I don't know, it's not the same. But New York has amazing tomatoes too. I mean,
I see you have a very cute dog that you maybe walk at winter time because there's no leaves.
Yeah, that's actually a friend of mine's dog, and I used to go visit them in the Hamptons, and I would drive their dog from LA to the Hamptons on a 5-day trip.
That's
And me and the
amazing.
dog would just get in an RV and go for 5 days, and it was awesome. And I sort of would drop their dog off and hang out in the Hamptons, and because they would fly, they didn't want to get in the RV, and I was just like, I'll do it, you know.
Oh, a road trip is the best.
Yeah, so I did those road trips for a while, and the dog
Did the dog like it?
the dog loved the road trips. The dog is a big American bulldog, and actually was a very beautiful dog, but very scared. The dog used to try and, I mean, this huge head would try and squeeze under my leg while I was driving. And I'm like trying to drive through New York and go over the bridge, and the dog's like under my foot and I can't hit the brakes.
Oh my God, that's scary.
Yeah. And I got pulled over a lot in Ohio, you know, because when you pass through Ohio, the owner, like, he wanted me to bring a lot of stuff. So he packed the RV the first time I did it, and the windows were blocked. So I got pulled over. I was trafficking drugs or something, and they had to search the vehicle.
And were you?
No, I was not.
Okay. Well, okay. Just checking.
Not that I know. I mean, they didn't find anything. So I
was thinking of our mutual friends. I was like, it's possible.
It's possible. And they were like scared of the dog because he's so huge. And, but I'm like, I'll go walk the dog. You guys search the van. Okay.
Yeah. Were you like worried that they would shoot the dog? Cause I've seen like, you know, interactions with cops who are like, get that dog away from me. Yeah.
No, they weren't. They were a little startled at first. I don't think they expected to see the dog, but.
Yeah,
and that big. The dog's intimidating.
So clearly you're smart. You cook with your dad. You take long road trips with your friend's dog. You go to Long Island, which isn't far from me, though you didn't say hi. Mm-hmm. We know each other. I've seen you wear glasses as well.
Yeah, you know, sometimes I do wear glasses. I could see okay without them, but
I'm the same way.
But yeah, I actually see better with them. Maybe I'll leave them on. Okay. Yeah,
I have to like look sideways. It's weird. I have to be like looking through my left eye to see.
I think I was just one of those people who it didn't really hit me until, you know, just in the last couple of years where I'm like, oh wow, I sort of need reading glasses. And
when I'm on set, I have to wear contacts, and I can't see really with my contacts. Can't see my phone. Can't see anyone that's like 2 feet away from me. So it's like, it's very weird.
You know, I was thinking, should I get contacts? Because now I'm like worried because I haven't really had to manage this. But since we're doing self-tapes and stuff, I'm kind of like, okay, I have time to memorize. But if I was ever in the room, I'd be like panicked that I couldn't see the page, you know?
I had that issue the other day. I had to like zoom in on my phone to see what the side said. I'm like, oh, I can't see that line.
Yeah. But so you're not recommending contacts because I've never had them. I don't know if I should.
It depends on your vision, because mine is so bad that even with contacts, it's like there's only like a 3-foot window of vision.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say with given those things, given you wear glasses, now you looked intelligent before, but you look even smarter now.
Okay.
Well, you cook fancy food. Yeah. Well, you cook fancy food with your dad as well. Like, why would you, being such a smart guy, why would you even, why would you choose acting?
Well, you know, I never, it's because it happened so young that I fell in love with it. I think I was like 12 or 13. And I mean, my family's Italian and Irish, and I'm the only, you know, all my family are very dark. They look like, you know, they're siblings or related to Robert De Niro.
Mediterranean.
So, you know, grew up watching The Godfather and things like that. And, you know, and being from Jersey, and, you know, it was like the era of Dustin Hoffman and Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. And I think it was like seeing Robert De Niro in, you know, everything he did at that time, you know, and Meryl Streep. And it was just like, I think one day I said to my dad, you know, I want to be an actor. And he actually went out and found the Lee Strasberg Institute. And so he and my mom used to drive me to New York once a week or twice a week sometimes.
And you're like, you're a teenager at this time.
Yeah, I'm 13.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was
that's so cool they got behind it.
What's that?
I'm just saying that's so cool that your parents encouraged it and got behind you in a big way.
Yeah, they really encouraged it, and they used to. I remember they used to go eat at a restaurant around the corner, Sal Anthony's, and then I used to go to class, and it was like the kids program, and I used to sneak in and watch Lee Strasberg teach sometimes.
Ah,
I was in class with one of my classmates was Dustin Hoffman's, I think it was his stepdaughter, Karina Hoffman. And so I used to see him show up and pick her up. And it was just like the energy and the vibe of being in New York at that time. And
yeah,
and yeah, and I just fell in love with it. And I think it was also because I was a very shy person.
sure.
And suddenly when I tried the acting thing, I immediately just fell into it and was just like, oh my God, I found what I want to do. Like, this is it was so, it just resonated with me. I mean, it was just so, I was like, oh my God, I suddenly found like I could put all my emotions, everything that I'm feeling that I couldn't put into words suddenly came to
Yeah,
life for me in a character. And I was just really good at disappearing into characters. And I think it was almost just like, I don't know. It was kind of like I had so many emotions and stuff that were bottled up inside of me that I was just like, once somebody gave me words to put them to, I was just like, it just all came out. And it was, yeah. And I just loved it. I mean, it was just kind of like never went away.
was it that shield of the character that you like lose it? Were you trying to get your emotions out, or did you enjoy wearing that kind of a shield of a character? Well, or was it kind of both?
I think it was both. It felt very therapeutic. Like, I think, I don't know, being shy, it was just kind of always just feeling uncomfortable in my skin,
Sure.
in groups. And, I mean, obviously I did feel comfortable when I had close friends, but I was never good around like, just what to say in groups. I always felt like I was struggling with how I wanted to put things into words or how to express myself, I guess.
Yeah.
And suddenly it just clicked and connected when I had a script and I had the words to say and I read the script. I was like, oh my God, it all makes sense. And I don't know, I guess the first time I got up to do it, I was like, oh, I can memorize these lines and now I know what to say. I mean, it's kind of like, in a weird way, over the years, I look back and I'm like, this was maybe my journey of therapy because of just finding who I am, and being comfortable in my own skin and confident in that. And I just was suddenly, when I was on stage, it was just like confidence and it felt like home. And I don't know, it was sort of like the way that it happened for me was just like everything sort of appeared to me. I would read a script and it wasn't, at that time, I didn't know how to break down a script. I didn't know any like analysis, but it was more like a roadmap of emotions. And somehow it worked. And it was just like, people were like, wow, you're really good, and I was just
That's
like,
why so you got encouragement from teachers
yeah.
or
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so they saw something in you that you obviously thought you had
which
as well.
gave me more confidence and made me kind of feel like, and I booked my first role, which was probably one of the easiest things I had ever booked. It was, I think 50% because I was from New York. It was kind of like I got this manager. His name was Kuno Spunholtz. He was actually in a Woody Allen movie at one point. He had like a small thing, but he was my manager. And I had this audition for World According to Garp. And
oh my God,
it's
great
not
movie.
on my IMDb, but I walked in, like I was carted into, like, I went in, I met the casting director, and then she was like, okay. And she walked me over to like where the director was. And I stood in front of the director.
George Roy Hill, is that right?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I stood in front of the director and I she just like, I don't know, we talked for a minute and he said, okay, yeah. And he goes, yeah, you're hired. And I was just like, what? I didn't even know what just happened. I mean, I'm
You
like,
the baby at the beginning? No, I'm just
no, I know, right? Yeah. No, I was one of the wrestlers in the locker room.
no
And
way. That's so cool.
yeah. And it's kind of a funny story because years later when I went to USC, a friend of mine and I were like, because my manager said, don't get your SAG card because, if you get your SAG card, there's going to be less work. There's more non-union work. And so I never got my SAG card and no one ever told me anything. So I'm at USC, and this friend of mine who also had one line in Risky Business, we're like, maybe we should go over to SAG and try and fool them and tell them we were in these movies, you know? And we did. And they were like, they checked it out and they're like, oh yeah, okay. And we both got our SAG card. And I was like,
oh my God.
Wow. I was like, okay. I told them the line that I had, because my line is in the locker room. I say, what's the definition of brassiere? It's an over-the-shoulder boulder holder. That was my line.
No way. I think I remember that. I think I learned that from that. That was your fault.
Hey, what's the definition of brassiere? I don't know. What? It's an over-the-shoulder boulder holder. Oh, yeah? What's the definition of a girdle? I don't know. What? It's a lower decker pecker checker.
And then Glenn Close, the funny story, on the first take, she comes in because we're all in the locker room in towels and we're all teenagers, you know, we're these young.
Yeah.
And she comes in her bra and underwear to make everybody feel more comfortable. So she just walks in the first scene and everyone was just like, what? You know? And
that is so, like, seriously, that is one of my favorite movies. We just introduced my son to it. That is so cool. You're a part of that film.
Yeah, it was awesome. And, you know, I've often thought, like, a couple of years ago, I just thought, oh, maybe I should try and, I mean, IMDb is so kind of difficult to navigate a little bit, right? And so I went and I watched the movie again and realized I'm actually not in the credits. And
what?
Yeah, I'm not listed in the credits.
That's insane.
Yeah, it just kind of, I'm not in there. But yet I was like, well, how did they figure out, I get my SAG card? But maybe when I gave them the line, and I'm kind of like, well, now if they go back and look, I mean, could they still tell it's me? I'm like, how would they know? I'm like, why aren't I in the credits? I guess when I went to the screening, I just was so happy that I was in the movie, you know? Of
course.
Yeah. And I remember the director telling me, like, at one point, they're panning the camera and she walks by and I stick my head out from the locker and the director, like, singles me. I didn't even know what I did, you know? And he's just like, keep that. I love that. Do that again.
Because he comes down the chimney.
Garp, what are you doing in here?
Okay, wrestlers, we got a big meet tomorrow, so no beating the meat tonight.
I want to do what they do.
Animals.
Do you get, and not to get too personal or anything, but do you get residuals for that?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, that's so weird you're not credited.
Yeah, how do I get residuals if I'm not credited? It's very strange, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had something I got cut out of entirely, and I get residuals for it. I mean, though you do see me, but you don't see me say my lines. So okay, so you were seen. Let's get you on IMDb. I mean, that's a cool credit to have on your IMDb.
You know, it would be. I always thought not to put it on because I'm like, well, yeah. Then, like, how old does it date you? Like, maybe I could say I was the baby.
Yeah, I'm the one they throw up and down at the beginning with the Beatles song. It's kind of cool.
But it was cool, you know. I mean, when they, you know, my parents dropped me off in New York and they took me on a bus. All the guys from New York, they took on a bus and we drove to upstate New York, about 2 hours away, and they sat me outside. That was the only time I didn't actually meet Robin Williams because he wasn't in that scene, but he was next to me in hair and makeup, which was just in this beautiful, you know, it was that school, right, or that property, and it was just beautiful lawn. We were outside sitting on a chair. He was getting his makeup done on the other side, and they just basically shaved my head. So when they brought me back after the job, I was walking up to my dad, and they didn't recognize me because my hair was so long.
Oh, your parents didn't recognize you?
No, they didn't recognize me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So yeah. But anyway, that was kind of funny. That was a great first job in New York. Yeah. That's
amazing. So, okay. So that's kind of how you got your start. So I want to ask you, so how do you go from New Jersey, a part in Garp, to this?
That's them coming out of the pool room.
Hey, guys, look who it is. Hey, well, how's it going, Mr. 200?
Hey, come on. Get these guys a drink. Go,
Hey, no, we're going to go watch the secretaries walk out of the Prudential building. Want to come? It's windy.
All right. We got noise. Go. All right. What's the matter, fellas?
We have to work weekend.
Well, fellas, look, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give the guy a call, okay, and I'll see if I can get him to ease up on the hours a little bit. That's all I can do.
You look the same. It's crazy. You look just like you did then.
I remember those clothes. Those are all my clothes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You had to. They made you dress yourself? What?
They let me wear my clothes. I was like, oh wow, I remember that sweatshirt and those painter pants. Yeah. But yeah, that was an awesome job. And
was it 89?
I think it was, yeah.
Okay.
It was right when I got out of USC. I remember I did this play, and I invited the casting director. I sent out when we used to send out postcards, right?
Yeah.
I sent out all these postcards, and I invited him to this play, and he couldn't come, and somehow I don't know. He contacted me somehow, maybe through my agent, or I don't know, and said he couldn't come, and then he showed up. And in this play, I was playing like 5 different characters, and
wow. Do you know what the play was called?
It was at the Celebration Theater, and I can't remember what it was called, actually.
That's okay.
Yeah, but it was really fun because I got to be so many characters. But anyway, and then I get this audition for Cheers. He did show up, and I get this audition for Cheers. And it was at the time where I was like, I literally brought an apple to the audition, and I jumped on the couch, and I was like eating the apple and after the audition, he just kind of said, I don't know, he gave me a note to do it without all the theatrics or something.
Yeah. Well, what do you remember, like an idea of what the breakdown was? Is he just kind of kooky and flighty? And what is this character?
Yeah, I mean, he was just one of Norm's kind of slacker painters who, and they don't do any work. Like they never do any work. They're just like always just, making excuses. And so kind of a slacker, laid back painter guy who's just kind of, quirky, I think it was. And so maybe that was the word that stuck with me, and, kind of.
And so, yeah. Huge at the time, because this is a few seasons into the series. So you must have been like, this is an awesome break for me.
Yeah. And, ironically, I think it was like the only sitcom I've ever done. I love comedy. All the plays, so many of the theater that I've done has been comedic, and I love comedy. And I booked that my first job is like a sitcom. And then I think I maybe booked one other sitcom that I got cut out of, or that didn't air for some reason. But I couldn't get jobs for sitcoms. And, and especially like I'd go in like that one, I don't know why it just connected, maybe because there was more dialogue, but when you go in a lot for co-stars and there's like 1 or 2 lines, right? And I'm kind of like, I need a character for some reason. And like 1 or 2 lines, I remember going in to like sitcom auditions, and I'd see Fred Stoller. I don't know if you know who Fred Stoller is.
I don't.
He's like a stand-up, and he's this real tall, skinny, quirky guy with like a thick Queens or New York accent. Right?
Okay, I probably do know him. It's just not coming to mind.
Yeah, but he's been on tons of sitcoms. He's pretty well known. But anyway, I'm like, how am I going to beat that guy saying one line? I mean, it's just like the guy opens his mouth and you're like laughing, And I felt like that's what I was up against with sitcoms, because I never really was getting like guest star sitcoms. I don't know. I got that one, which was, I think it was a guest star. I can't remember.
It seems like it would be, because you're in there.
There were like 2 scenes. Yeah. At that time, it was kind of like they were a little bit more loose with the guest stars, right?
Sure. And I think now they try to cut those corners as well too. So
right. I mean, now I've like booked stuff where it was kind of like, this should be definitely a guest star, but now they're calling it a large co-star, so that, I don't know,
to save some money or whatever.
Things have changed because they don't have money. Yeah, because they got to pay 12 other names to get people to watch their show.
Yeah, it's great. I want to actually kind of take a step back and talk about theater in a second, but before I ask you about that, I want to. We have a segment coming up later that you may be aware of called The Kiss and Tell, where people share a behind-the-scenes story. Do you have a word or 4 to tease your kiss and tells? Okay.
Let's see. Well, the first one, let's go with fishing pole.
Fishing pole? Okay.
Fishing pole.
I'm excited we get more than one.
Tongue.
What is it?
No tongue.
No tongue. Okay.
No tongue. No Tears.
No, this is the third one. Okay, No Tears.
The third one is No Tears. And the fourth one is Kiefer.
Kiefer. Spoiler alert. I wonder what that could be.
That is a little spoiler word. Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. We get more than one. Okay, cool. We will get to those in a little bit. So I want to go back. Your parents got you into theater. Into the training, the acting classes. You fell into Garp, but from the theater classes, you kind of discovered stage. And how did that come about? Were you scared of coming onto stage given how shy you were before? Did you find that confidence on the stage, or did that come more so from the classes?
I think it just came from the classes. I mean, I was always nervous before I went up in front of people, even in class. Sure. But yeah. I quickly discovered that I was a very anxious person. Like I just couldn't but once I was on stage and I mean, we used to have showcases there at the Strasberg Theater where they would invite, people. And sometimes we got industry people in there because Matt Dillon was in my class. That was when they discovered Matt Dillon and put him in class. Wow. Yeah, they discovered him cutting class, before he was in some of those big. Yeah, but there was a couple of before that. I can't remember the name of those movies that were.
I know exactly what you're thinking of. I can't think of the name either.
Yeah,
had longer hair.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that was the first movie he did, and then they put him in acting class, or they recommended. I mean, I don't know if he ever, but yeah. He was a perfect film actor, but I mean, he just had something. But anyway, we became friends, and but so his manager came at one point, but and I rocked the showcase, but he didn't jump on me or represent me. He didn't jump on the opportunity, and I was kind of I thought that it was maybe a good opportunity that. It would have worked out, but
he was focused on Dylan, I imagine.
Well, I imagine, yeah. I mean, I guess that I don't know if that was his only client or whatever, but sure. I just remember thinking I don't know, there was a little bit there of at that time, it kind of felt like if you're a good actor, that's all you need. You do good work, that's all you need. I never knew anything about. At that time, there wasn't a lot of education about the business and, what your look is, what your niche is. It was always you can play any role, and that's what I think I sort of gravitated towards, losing myself in characters and wanting to play different characters. And I looked up to actors like Sean Penn and wanting a career like his because, I mean, he used to disappear into these roles Robert De Niro and Meryl Streep and, and those were the careers that I idolized, right? And, but yeah, I mean, I wasn't really focused on the business side, and otherwise,
people forget that's so important. I mean, I understand that. Obviously, you've come to understand how important that is. But younger actors are like, "Oh, that's right. It's a business as well. It's not just, hey, I'm acting."
I mean, we have a lot more education now about that, and platforms where casting, and there's a lot of actors who also are, mentors, and have these platforms that you can join where they help. They teach you a lot, right? That coming up, I don't know if you experienced this too. You didn't really have a lot of it. It was kind of it's a big secret. You got to just figure it out on your own, So
absolutely. And you started. We're not far off in age, but I started much later than you did. I didn't want to do it, but then I fell into it. But so I think you suffered through that more than I did, just because you started earlier.
Yeah, I just didn't know. I mean, for example, 90210. I mean, when I got that was, I didn't realize I probably should have now, if I would have booked something like that now, or were to book something like that now, I would hire a publicist. I would do everything I could to promote that and take advantage of it. But I just kind of sat back, and I was so naive. I thought I made it.
It will come with it.
I thought, I made it before I turned 30. I was just kind of it just, especially because it was literally I mean, I had a recurring on that, and
How many episodes was it? 4 or 7 or something
it
in
was
there?
seven
Okay.
episodes. Yeah. And
Wow.
yeah, it was 7 episodes, and it was before Fox became a network too.
Oh, I
And
didn't realize that. Okay.
yeah, so I think I was expecting like a huge check, and when the residuals came, it was like, at that time, you say you make a top of show, and then the first time it airs, you get the same amount of money as you did
Sure.
on the, yeah. But now it's capped. And anyway, but at that time, I was expecting that, and I think I got like a tenth of that because Fox wasn't a network.
Oh, I
So
didn't
it was kind
understand
of
that.
like, if I made 30, 40,000 on those 7 episodes, I wound up with like 4,000.
Oh, that's insane. Let me
Yeah, it was
play I'm gonna
like
play a quick clip
10%.
from that.
Oh, okay.
I think this is spoiler alert. This is his last episode.
I'm sorry, but I'm not unhappy.
I thought you wanted strings. I thought you wanted to be with me.
Yeah, but Adrian put me through med school, and it'll be years before I'm making any real money as a doctor. I couldn't leave her if I wanted to. And I don't want to.
But that must have led to other opportunities, even though you didn't get the publicist that didn't launch you maybe in the way that you were hoping. Is that?
Well, one of the opportunities was to upgrade my agent, but I was like loyal, and I stayed with the agent that I was with, and I actually didn't get a lot of opportunities. I had
I
a
respect
few.
that though.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, maybe it was a mistake, but I
Yeah.
respect that you were loyal. That's nice of you.
Yeah. And yeah, I thought I was going to be getting like series regular auditions, and I had a few. I mean, that was actually probably the year after that or during that time, because that was over like, I think I booked one of the first one in November, and then or October, and it went over 2-year period,
Oh.
of the 7 episodes. And yeah, I mean, for the next, I guess, year, that was the most auditions I ever had. I wasn't an actor who had like a lot of auditions. I remember my roommate at the time, she had like 100 auditions in 1 year. I mean, that's
Oh
how
my God.
often she was going out. And
Yeah.
I probably have never had more than 25 auditions a year. And I thought my percentages were pretty good because I would probably book 1 in 10 auditions. And
That's interesting. I wonder. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason in this business,
right,
but that's
right.
crazy. That blows my mind.
Yeah. I mean, I heard you say so on one of your other interviews, I think Quentin, it was, he gets a lot of auditions, and he was talking about like 75 auditions, like he was happy to finally book, after 75. And I'm like,
Yeah.
75 is just like, I can't even fathom having 75. Like, I was just like, okay, if I get, I mean, I was having maybe one every couple of weeks or something like that.
He's my only friend right now that is busy, given the state of
Right.
the
Yes.
business,
Yeah.
which I think
Yeah.
is his age range and stuff. He's good, obviously. But
Yeah,
no,
that's great. Yeah, I mean, you don't know, like, it's hard. You don't
do you
know.
feel that that opportunity didn't help you in the end? I mean, obviously, it's a great credit to have. It was the biggest show at the time.
No, it was, I mean, it helped me definitely because I didn't even realize that a lot of casting people knew who I was,
Yeah.
and I think I was just obviously naive to that because it came like, within my first like couple of jobs, right, in LA, and they were talking about making me a series regular. My agent was like, "Oh, they're going to make you a series regular," and you get your hopes up, and that can change your life, right? And and then they didn't. Then suddenly, as you saw, my last episode, and I was kind of, when I read the script, I was like, "Oh, okay."
So you had no idea that was coming.
No,
I mean,
I didn't know. Yeah, it was
what a
kind of. I
jerk.
mean, my agent's the one who told me that they were going to make you a series regular, and or that they were talking about it. But you just don't know like what goes on behind closed doors, or maybe they're exploring that, and then they come up with something else of a way to go. And yeah, I'm actually good friends with Mark Espinoza, who played her husband, Gabrielle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My wife watched it a lot, but I didn't watch it.
We
So now
stayed
I have to go
friends.
see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, but it was almost like that was like, I was like, okay, I hope this is not my 15 minutes because it felt more like 5. But
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
But you don't realize, I mean, I did 7 episodes, and the impact of that show, I mean, it was like I kind of couldn't go anywhere. I was a little bit surprised at like on the smallest level of experiencing people staring at you all the time, like walking into a bagel shop and them giving me free bagels, being confronted at like, I went home to New Jersey and I was at the Jersey Shore in a bar and with friends, visiting friends of mine at their college. And they're like, you're that guy from 90210. You're that guy from 90210. And I would be like, no, I'm not him. I'm not him.
Did you not want that? Did you not want that?
I don't know. I was just, the shyness of like having that tension, and then finally I would say, like in that instance, I remember I said, yes, okay, I'm him. No, you're not. Shut the hell up. Let me see your life.
You're just,
but yeah, I mean, I remember going to a concert. It was like the dueling pianos of Billy Joel and Elton John, and someone coming down right before the concert started from the stands and tapping me on the shoulder and saying, hey, you're that guy from 90210. And
we're like, yeah, we're here to see Billy Joel, but sure.
That is actually what I said. Yeah. And my girlfriend at the time, I was just like, that was really weird. But yeah, I can only imagine like what the cast of that show, because that was the biggest show at that time. Right. So I can't imagine what they were experiencing, or like people obviously more. I mean, I got like a tiny bit of like taste of what that could be like, but
yeah.
And or as if that continues, that must be hard to live your life like that. But
I couldn't imagine. And looking through your credits, because you've done so much, and I know you're like, oh, it took me many years to build that. Your credits are so impressive. And I know obviously we all want all the riches in the world, but you kind of have a dream career. You've worked continuously. Obviously there's gaps, there's ups and downs, but you've been in tons of stuff and you do get recognized from time to time, but you can live a life, which seems like the dream to me.
It does, but it's hard to make a living, as you know, on like, especially because I've never actually been a series regular, and I've never had, I mean, I can count the amount of times I've read for series regular roles. I mean, it's not like I suddenly have been like testing and and like hadn't landed one. I never really got the opportunity. And at some point I just thought, that it would have to happen more like a 90210 situation where I book a recurring and it suddenly backdoors me into a series regular. And, sometimes, if I were to do it all again, right, I had a lot more success in theater. I don't know. Whenever I was on stage, I got a lot of the feedback was, was great. And I don't think, when I was younger, also the confidence of, I don't know what it was. Like, it was just sort of blind confidence, maybe, of just feeling like, do I want to audition for this play? Because if I audition, I'm going to get it, And then I came out to California.
I know what you mean, though. I know what you're saying without being pretentious. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I came out to California and I was kind of like, I thought maybe it would, and then it was just like, you learn rejection and you're kind of like, oh my God, it's just like such a bigger pool. And I'm kind of like, what? Yeah, it's just like TV and film. It's so different than theater.
Did you leave theater behind at that point? Where you're like, I'm in LA, film, TV, that's it. I mean, did you continue?
No, I mean, I don't know what happened. I did a lot of free theater around town, or I kept doing theater to stay in front of it because I love theater, and it was I mean, it's not the same as the New York theater scene, but I never pursued it in a way that, I mean, I had an opportunity at one point where someone said, if you come back to New York, I can help you in theater, Yeah. And I kind of was like thinking, I really wanted to, like, I was just getting out of USC and I wanted to see what happens here in LA, and so I didn't go because it was probably too soon. And plus I think I was 20 or 21 or something. I don't know. But
so this would have been before the 90210, right?
Yeah, that was before the 90210. Okay. That was before Cheers. I mean, that was like that was like in a showcase at USC where I did this show called The Kitchen and I played like a German cook.
Yeah.
And I had to mime all the cooking and the chopping of the vegetables. And I don't know, I sort of disappeared into this, like, this character. And I don't know, it was just at that time, I don't know, maybe my imagination was just, and I think, you know, and then someone was just like, oh, you know, if you come back to New York, you know, that was the only time someone offered to help me. But yeah.
Do you feel that maybe you want, I mean, you were in LA, but you wanted to lean into the film and TV because you felt there was more clout and more recognition for that, or potentially there could be more money, or you just
I think it was just the dangling. I think it was my dream, right?
Yes.
And
because the film actors. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was just my dream. And so I'm like just getting out of USC. And you know, actually I did right out of USC. I wound up going to Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and I did like 4 plays. We built the theater in this church at scaffolding. And I, you know, I was in, which I never would have booked here in the United States. I got to do Biloxi Blues and Broadway Bound, Neil Simon back to back, you know, and play Eugene, which is kind of like, you know, I'm not going to book that probably here.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. You did that.
Yeah. So I got to do a summer, whole summer in Scotland doing that. So that was, you know, but then, yeah. So anyway, that was my journey, and that was where I ended up coming back and staying in LA.
I get the impression, talking to you, kind of thinking in terms of now, it seems that you are still very much hungry to continue on in the business. Like, obviously you look young still, so I'm not saying that you're older or anything, but it seems like there's still, that dream is very much alive in you, and you've continued to work. Would you say that you're still hungry for it, or is the state of the business kind of,
you know, I'm kind of in, I don't know, I'm kind of in transition, because I'm tired of, like, you know, the struggle is like, I'm not working enough, especially after the pandemic. You know, I was really hungry. I mean, I was like, wow, these 5 years were important 5 years for me, of kind of like, this is the first time I don't have a theatrical agent. I have a manager, but it's like, since I signed with her during the pandemic, I think it was 2020. I think I've been with her maybe 2.5 years or 3 years. I haven't booked anything. Yeah, I mean, I've had maybe 2 or 3 opportunities, and ironically, like, these are some of the best auditions I've ever given on self-tapes, you know?
Yeah.
But
do you like self-tapes?
Yeah, I do like them, because, I mean, because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and I'm kind of like, I can watch that back and be objective and going like, this is what I want to set in. I know this is, you know,
yes,
I'm fine tuning it, and I know which take that I want to send. And, you know, whereas like, you can't really see yourself in an in-person audition, right? You're going in but I'm kind of feeling like, wow, these are some of my best auditions, but I don't know if it's just because obviously the competition is probably greater now. I mean, self-tapes are coming from everywhere.
You see a lot more. Yes.
Even though there's more content, there's like, I don't know, they're seeing a lot more. It's different too. There's a different vibe as opposed to meeting somebody in the room, right? You don't know. They're giving you a note. You're taking the adjustment, and there's so many variables, right? And also,
a real connection. Yeah,
you're in there, and it's like, you come in, you get the producers. I mean, you know, it was at a point where I was going straight to producers, and I'm like, oh, it's between me and 6 people, you know? So, you know, it's different. I remember when I booked Castle, there was like a lot of, I think it was like, I saw Max Perlich sitting in the waiting room. There were a lot of people in the waiting room, and who I thought were famous. And I'm kind of like, this is a one-day guest star. Like, what are they doing here? You know? And anyway, I ended up booking it, and I kind of like was talking with the director, and I was just wondering why, like, why you know, what did why me? I kind of like wanted to know, like, was it something, you know, I was sort of getting into that headspace of like, what makes you stand out in an audition? Like, what did I do that was so different? Like, what?
We all want that answer. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And he said to me, oh, it was just like, because I play this character, Johnny Dimes, you know, and he goes, well, it was when you leaned in and said that line in the middle. And I was kind of like, wow. Oh, okay.
Just that little detail. That's interesting, because you never know what the reason is.
You never know what the reason is, right? And a similar thing, not similar, but when I did NCIS Los Angeles, I remember thinking in the audition, when the turn happens, right, where it's like they got you and you're guilty, right?
Yeah.
I decided not to play the turn in the audition. So I decided, like, when they're like, you're guilty, I decided to like almost just stand my ground. And I said the line in a way where I almost was not admitting guilt, right? And
Yeah.
I thought that's why I booked it. I thought like, oh, I wonder if that's why I booked it, you know? And then when I got to set and we did it, we shot that moment, the director says, okay, now can you give me the turn? And I was just like, oh, okay. And so I did it, and that's what it was. They wanted, you know, you're guilty. That's episodic, right? It's just like they got you. So
that's interesting. So you're like, well, maybe that wasn't the reason. But they
maybe
always say, like, play the role that you booked in the audition. Like, do that. I don't know.
Right, exactly. Do that. Don't come in and do something completely different. I mean, but who knows? Maybe that could have been what God.
Maybe made you stand out, and they're like, okay, he's trying something else, but that's not what we want.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if I actually did a take like that or if that was the rehearsal. And then when we were going to do the first take, he said, now, you know, make sure you do the turn.
And maybe there were other people, you know, in Video Village going, no, that's not quite working for what we want. So who knows how many people were in his ears at the time or her ears.
Yeah.
But,
you don't know. You don't know.
How did 24 come about? Because you had a decent recurring on there as well. I'm going to play a clip.
Oh, okay.
A little quickie clip.
Agent Turner, what's the status of your perimeter?
It's in place. We've got agents in plain clothes covering the exits to the building. And we have 3 TAC teams in position to move in on your command.
Do you have confirmation the fighthead's in the building?
Not directly, but the building manager ID'd Morris O'Brien entering the building with a woman less than 20 minutes ago. We assume the woman is the driver your witness saw shoot McCarthy. There are no cameras in the building. We don't know what apartment or floor they're on. CTU is patched in and awaiting your word.
I've seen a few roles where you were just very technically and beautifully spouting technical jargon like that.
Yeah. Well, I was
so good at it.
I think that is one of the reasons why I got that, actually, because John Kazar, the director. Yeah, I mean, I just remember that I was able to say all those technical terms pretty clearly in the audition.
With conviction.
Worked really hard at making sure. Actually, you know, sometimes when it's harder things to say, you know, it's almost like Shakespeare, right? You learn that language, and it kind of gets imprinted in your brain.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. So it just, I don't know, it just automatically came out, and I didn't mess it up, and maybe that was as simple as that. You know,
you're the one guy that got through it.
I was the one guy that got through it, but you know, I actually did a one-day guest star on 24 with John Kazar, where I was like a worker at a factory. And I used to have that clip on my reel. And then when no one tells you this, but I was like, told everybody, like, you know, oh, my episode's airing. And then I wasn't in it. It got cut.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like devastated. And I just thought, wow, you know, and then
we've all been cut.
Yeah. And then look what happens. And then they call me back, and I end up getting a recurring that I didn't know it was going to be a recurring. So
did you think it was one episode at the time, and then they're like, let's bring this guy back? Or
yeah, I mean, that's what happened with 90210 as well. I mean, it was supposed to be a one guest star episode. And but yeah, I mean, I remember Kiefer Sutherland came up to me and he said, you and I are going to be running in and out of buildings all season long. And
we're like, oh my God, what?
I know. And then the ratings dropped. I think it was season 5. The ratings dropped, and they brought in Ricky Schroeder to run into buildings to up the ratings.
Oh,
and I got left handcuffed to a truck.
And that was it.
That was it. I remember the makeup artist said, "What? You're still alive? You could come back."
You're like, oh yeah. And you had been through it at that point, been through the ringer of this business. You're like, yeah, I know. Don't believe it till you see it.
Yeah. I mean, with 90210, that was not my 2 years earlier. I had an audition for a recurring role for a drama teacher. And
on that show. Yeah.
On 90210. And I remember coming in and giving a Robin Williams audition where it was an acting teacher, and I acted out the whole audition. And
yeah,
the producers were like, like they loved it. And then actually it wasn't the producers, it was the casting people loved it. And then they said, okay, now can you just say it? So I said, because it was a huge monologue of like, I'm teaching this acting class. And then I just said it.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, great. And then I get this call saying, come to producers. And I went to producers, and everyone in the waiting room had been series regular. I recognized everybody. And I went in. Yeah. And I went in, and it was Aaron Spelling, and nobody prepared me. And I had like, that was the first time that something like that had happened. And there were about 20 people literally sitting on a couch with Aaron Spelling. And all that can run through my head is like, which way am I supposed to do this? Like, do I just say it, or do I do my big flamboyant acting thing?
Yeah. Which one did they like? Oh.
Which one, no one said, like, which one should I do? And I don't know. My nerves got the best of me, and I literally tanked. I froze. I tanked the audition. And I remember just being devastated, and I get a call from my agent later that day and saying, what happened? And I'm like, what? And they're like, you were their first choice. And I was like, what? And cut to 2 years later, different casting director brings me back for this guest star. And they actually had me audition for 2 roles. It was like a student activist and the doctor.
Yeah.
And there's nothing better than when you audition and they say to you right there, this was producers, and they say, oh, we wish you could do both of these.
Oh, that's a nice thing to hear, like, especially after that last experience.
Yeah, which was 2 years earlier, but they do remember, and that was a gift, that was awesome. And I was just, yeah, it turned out better, even though I think
after those experiences that, oh, they're never going to see me again. Like, I suck.
Yeah.
I mean, I did that with Law and Order.
Right? But it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, those things happen as actors, right?
Totally do. You get in your head, and
I was always battling nerves. I mean, I was, for some reason.
Do you find that that's an issue that still comes in sometimes? I know for me it does. It depends. I'm like, which Ian is going to be there. I mean, it depends. If the role has enough meat, I find that I have no issue. But if it's sometimes like something that's so not interesting, it's harder for me. Yeah. I think I was always auditioning for stuff that I felt like I wasn't really right for. Yeah. And I don't know if it's because, I always was being brought in I'm like from New Jersey, and I was always being brought in for like the kid from Iowa, the, Southern, or I don't know, or like the comedic best friend, and it just never felt like a fit. But the ones that were a fit, like 90210, I nailed it. It was just kind of like the nerves weren't there. Like, for some reason, when it was the right fit, I didn't have as many nerves. Or if I had enough time, I was always worried about not having enough time, right? So you work on something, and sometimes obviously you get something at like 7:00 at night, and you have to be off book, and you have like 3 scenes and the next morning. And I'm kind of like, I'm not a person who was kind of like, I had to have it memorized, because as soon as I had the whole thing memorized, I was like, a freedom overtook me, right? It has to come from you. I'm exactly the same way.
Yeah. So as soon as it was memorized, it was just kind of like I absorbed it and I became it, right? As opposed to if I was reading it off, I could cold read, but I don't know. Yeah. There was a difference, right? Where I owned it, and the nerves disappeared also. And I think it was like the not knowing. So if I felt really confident that I had the lines, that I was prepared, the nerves were a lot less. It was the ones that I felt like, okay, I don't feel prepared. Am I going to forget this section? And then I get in my head, and I would talk myself into my head. And it was mostly about preparation, I think, and not trusting myself, or, you have
being well rested.
Yeah. I don't know. Or just like wanting it so bad at that time. I think now that I'm older, it's not about, I don't know, that it's not that it's not as important. It's just that it's different, right? It just is.
You have perspective.
Your perspective, and just you grow as a person, and not giving away my powers as much, or
it's important, like making those dinners with Papa, or
yeah. I think it's just, yeah, you put so much pressure on yourself because you want it so badly. And I always found it interesting where sometimes, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There are other actors who care less and seem to be like, oh yeah, just book it. Just go in the room and be themselves. And,
That's, yeah. And then you go, well, that's them. That's not me. You got to accept where you're at. I want to ask you, I don't want to keep you forever, but I'm starting to. I hope you are okay with that.
No, I'm actually enjoying this. I don't even know how long we've been doing this, but
I was just looking, my timer says almost an hour, so I apologize, but thank you.
No, I'm good. This is awesome. I'm having fun. Yeah. So
I want to ask you, because I get sometimes, I think I look like a jerk, so I get to play jerky roles, and I'm going to play a clip of a role that I think would have been challenging, but probably interesting because you are representing a real-ish person, but here it is.
But I beg that you do
prize
not
for the
separate
boy.
us. Please.
Stop it. Take your stick. Moment. Observe this, Randall. Jump, 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 run, run. Very good. Higher. You see this? Very likely. He will grow into a fine beast. 600 for the boy. Fair and final.
Done. What a cool movie. Like, what a great movie to be a part of. But what was it? Do you find it challenging to put yourself into a role like that? Or you're like, they would rather someone like me than the real thing. But how was that for you?
it was amazing. I mean, yeah, I just remember auditioning. I auditioned with like a much bigger scene. Like I auditioned for a completely different character. And it was like a real jerk I auditioned for, like one of the characters who is just beating somebody, or I don't know. I mean, I remember in the room, I'm like, using this whip or something. And and it was such an intense audition. And then I find out that I booked it, but it wasn't even a role that I think Steve McQueen, the director, had written this role in, or I don't know. And suddenly I booked that. And of course,
it showed you wanted you to be a part of the project,
right?
Obviously,
Yeah, and
to put you somewhere.
And, they're seeing it differently, and I'm in there like acting, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, like he didn't see me come in and do that character. What I did was completely different, and yet he saw me for something like that. And of course, I was grateful to be working in a room of actors of that quality. And I remember Benedict Cumberbatch was at one point talking to me, and I regret asking him afterwards to go out for a beer because we're in New Orleans. And I remember taking my hair coloring is the same, and they were like debating, should we use his hair or then they put this wig on me and I took it off, and he was like, oh, I thought that was your real hair. And we were just sitting there, waiting for the next shot. But I mean, Paul Giamatti was so amazing, and everybody was just wonderful. It was a wonderful experience. And
that was up for Best Picture, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think it was. Yeah, like how cool to be a part of something so.
I mean, that was an intense movie. So
yeah, it was. It was real. It was excellent. But no, I applaud you for your work in that. So from
that's like exactly like, sorry to interrupt, but that is like no small roles, right? I mean, that was it. That was the scene, and you're part of like a huge, you're grateful. I mean, it's awesome. And that was like during the time where I moved to New Orleans to try and see what New Orleans was about.
Break into that local and see how, because there was stuff going on there.
Yeah, right. And that was the time where the tax credit was there, and I moved there for a year just to get to know the casting directors. But also, interestingly enough, I had more auditions than I had ever had in my career when I moved there.
Really?
And yeah,
because you were a big fish in a smaller pond.
That's what it felt like, right? And I was being called in for everything, and I'm getting these auditions, and I'm like, I'm not right for this. I'm like a wife beater, and I'm like thinking they're getting the real guys, they're getting they look like they're bringing in these characters.
Scary.
When I see them in the waiting room, I'm just like, what am I doing here? But, you audition, and, you have to take on the mindset of I'm not auditioning to get this job. I may be auditioning for the next job, So
And they want a good guy on set. They don't want the real guy, you know?
right, they don't want the real guy.
They don't want the
I mean, or
racist.
do they? I don't know. Like lately, you just think to yourself,
My
sometimes
last role,
it's pretty close.
last role I played was the character's name was Douchey Guy.
Oh,
I'm like,
douchey guy.
yeah, they call me douche all day. I was like, yes, it was. I don't know.
Yeah.
Bucket list
Yeah,
opportunity.
I know. Yeah, you know, you kind of wonder. Like, I've been trying to on like one of these platforms that I kind of am trying to learn and navigate the new business, you know, and still kind of wondering because I've always heard in my career that, oh, such a good actor, but we don't kind of know what to do with him. Like, you know, when you're coming up in conservatory, theater and classes and acting classes, you're always told like you shed everything. Like they're preparing you like for like Shakespeare, right? And stuff like you want to shed everything so that you can do anything. But
Yeah.
it's really about, I want to be typecast, right? I mean, you should be grateful that you can look at somebody, say like yourself, and be like, oh, I know exactly what to do with that guy because of your essence, right? So what's your brand? What's your essence? And it's such a weird term, branding, of like, you know, I've never really kind of figured that out because I know my essence is like, this is like the nice guy that we want to hang out with, you know? And then you have like that other, you're at your friend Quentin, who's just like, seems like the nicest guy, but yet
he's so nice.
Bad, you know, kind of.
He's always a rough guy. Yeah.
The rough guy, right? Yeah. So, and I played a few of those myself because I like the turn, like, I think it was Moonlighting. I mean, I remember I got to play a bunch of different characters in that. And I remember the audition where I'm supposed to be one character and then I have a turn where suddenly my accent comes out and I use this accent and the director.
That series, the Moonlighting with
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Bruce Willis. That one.
No.
What am I thinking?
Moon Shadows. Maybe it was Moon. Why am I not?
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's okay. I'll look at. I'll look in your
the guy
IMDb.
from Hawaii Five-0. It's with the, you know, the lead actor from. He's an Australian actor. Anyway, I'm blanking on his name, but and Alex something. But yeah, and I had worked with him a couple of times. So, but
yeah,
it was a vampire series.
Okay, I'm the worst. I work mostly on TV, but I don't know TV.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So,
so you. Again, you've gone on. I'm going to play one more clip if you don't mind, but you've gone on to do a lot more of these procedurals. Again, here is one more where you're kind of spouting information about a volcano.
The drugs we picked up, they all had the logo of a mountain on them.
That's a volcano. An old mobster, Albert Tosca. My sources said he talked about pushing this new stuff he called volcano.
So he's got to be the one behind this.
Not likely. Found him executed mafia style last week in San Pedro.
Wow, you were very observant. You knew that volcano. But is this one episode? You're in one episode of this?
Yeah, that was SWAT. That was one episode. And I actually thought that was going to be a recurring role. And
I thought so too.
Yeah, I think they brought me, you know, no one tells you, but I think they brought me in for a recurring role because when I saw the episode, there's a line at the end of the episode when I'm leaving.
It's very suggestive.
Right, but they cut the line that's even more suggestive, where it was kind of like one of the other characters is where'd he go? Oh yeah, we're gonna go find him, and he's gonna help us with something. And then that line was cut, and so you know, I don't know why, but
it looked like they were suggesting you were a bad guy. So I'm like, what's gonna happen next? And then I didn't see more of you. I'm like, did it?
Well, we're supposed to be old, like buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I thought maybe there was a twist.
I don't know. I don't know what happened. Maybe they didn't see me as that, but I mean, I got great feedback from that. But you know, they also remember what?
You're great in there. That was excellent.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. You don't know if there's a chemistry thing because I remember when I booked it, there was like a lot more of the chemistry between those two friend characters. And I remember one of the notes that the director came up was kind of like he came up and he said, you guys are, you know, you're friends, you're seeing each other for the first time. And I remember Jay saying to me that he's just getting back from a hiatus, and he's like, I mean, he was such a nice guy, and he was apologizing, essentially saying like, sorry,
He's not in the zone yet.
I'm not in the zone yet. And I was just like, this is my opportunity to maybe, you know, and then.
Well, I was thinking, because I'm like, you totally seem like your old buddy, but I wasn't sure if it's his character because I haven't watched it. He seems a bit harder, not as warm as you do with him. But
right. I mean, that was the note we got, but, and, you know, he said he was not in the zone essentially yet. I don't know if that was the first scene that he was shooting when he got back, but
yeah,
who knows? I don't know, but it was fun. I had a blast, and I was kind of like, wow, that show's, you know, still on. And I was just, I kind of thought like, oh, I was always hoping that maybe I'd get a call and they'd bring me back, but
is it the show's still on, right? So it could happen.
I don't know. It's been 4 like seasons. It's already like that was second season. Now it's like 6 or something.
Well, then you can come back as something else.
Right. Yeah. After a certain time. Yeah. It's the same thing with like the NCISs. There's so many of them. After you do one, like, are you done for all of them, or how much time has to go by before they can bring you in for another one?
Like the Law and Orders and the FBI's. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Right.
I think they do have like a couple of years. I want to ask you, and I think some of this has come up, and then I'll start to wind down, though I want your kiss and tells. But first, do you have any advice for people who are up and coming in the business, something that you wish you had known beyond what you think we've discussed already?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we talked about not having as much information, that there's so much more information now. And I think it's true with casting directors now. I mean, you know, you can find casting directors saying this on webinars, and, you know, if you listen to them, and it's true, like they want you to get the job, you know, and
they're on our side. Yeah.
They're on our side, even though, and you don't know what has happened to them. I've been in casting offices where it doesn't seem like they're paying attention to you, and, you know, or listening, and, you know, and you don't know what kind of reader you're going to get, or if the casting director is going to read with you or not. But I would just say, you know, I was always trying to read a breakdown and figure out what they wanted, you know, because you want it so bad. You want to go in there and do a great job, you know. And I think one of the big lessons that I learned is to really just own you know, to bring as much of yourself to as you can. Like, they may know what they're looking for, but they also most of the time don't, you know. So don't worry about trying to figure that out. Like, make your choices and enjoy the process, you know. Fall in love with auditioning, because I auditioning was it felt like a hurdle for me, you know. And I was just like, I wish it was the job. I know, you know, sometimes people are great at auditioning and then they can't do the job, you know.
Yeah.
But I was the opposite. I was kind of like, if I can get past the audition, like the job is cake, you know, once I implement the job. And so, and confidence, you know, it's just like, I think, you know, I know casting, and, you know, they know you're human and there's going to be nerves, but they also smell that desperation, you know, when you want it so badly, and that just adds pressure. Take the pressure off yourself and really just try and enjoy the process, you know, and just own your choices and be confident, because confidence does go a long way.
And I think that's much harder said than done, the confidence too, because you're like, I'm confident. And you're like, but I'm not quite confident. But it's a skill that you've got to work on.
I think the more prepared you are, the more confident you are, you know.
Agreed.
And I guess just know what you bring to the table, and just try not to get in your head, you know, about it. You know,
I think that's the best advice. Bring yourself to the audition.
Bring yourself to the audition, because, you know, I mean, you hear so many times now, especially with self-tapes, how do I stand out? How do I stand out? You know, I think the best way, you know, you can stand out is by owning yourself and being yourself. And, you know, when you first hear, how do I stand out? You think you have to do something extra. You have to be more than who you are. Right?
And they must hate that. I bet they hate that, and they see right through that, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think sometimes it's just kind of like, you know, maybe when you read something in the stage directions about like angry, you know, and you feel like you have to like yell at somebody, you know, as opposed to somebody who takes the choice the opposite way and just plays it like in a quiet way, you know.
Like the twist you talked about in that one
Right.
audition. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna play it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember when I was
choices.
coaching on some auditions, and I remember one of the notes that this coach would give me would be like, okay, have more fun. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? Like, I'm paying you for some like serious actor advice, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what are my choices? Let's break down this scene, you know? It's like, I went to USC, I'm like dramatic analysis and you know, and it's like getting back to trusting your instincts. And now I understand have more fun is not like, it's more about enjoying the process, enjoying being there. I do have a quick story that actually relates to, I don't know if it relates to that, but, you know, I had an audition for True Blood for a big recurring role. And, you know, and the breakdown was an Iraqi war vet with PTSD and New Orleans accent, you know. And I remember just working on it like so hard, you know, getting the accent down. And then like I'm at the audition and there's, you know, a million people there who look just like you. And you're walking down the hall, it's your turn. And the casting director says to me, don't do a New Orleans accent. And I was just like, and she says, just do like maybe a light Southern. And I was just like, okay, now what? Am I going to slip into New Orleans? Like now I'm in my head about that. And I also have a huge monologue. There's a huge monologue that I'm, you know, so I'm in my
accent is attached to now. I'm
right.
sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Certain words, you know what I mean? That
yeah.
But I'm also thinking about like not wanting to forget the lines, and it's an emotional piece. I'm like a PTSD, you know. And anyway, I get in there and Alan Ball is in the room and he wants to talk, you know, and get to know me, like, which 5 or 10 minutes feels like an eternity. And I'm like, I probably, you know, I could have said, can we talk afterwards? I really want to do the scene first, you know, but
yeah.
I mean, he's talking, you go right into it, right? And he starts to talk to you, and it seems weird to say that, right? Because after the audition, he might not want to talk to you, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
So, yeah. So you're talking, and anyway, we chat for about 5 minutes, and then I do the scene, which I thought went really well. And then I leave, and I find out from my agent later on, because he had a good relationship with the casting, that oh yeah, it was a good audition, but he just didn't seem like he wanted to be there. And I thought to myself, that is such, you know,
what was your feedback?
The feedback had nothing to do with my acting.
Yeah.
I mean, here it is, a big recurring role, right? And they're looking at, do we want to spend time with this guy? Do we want him on set with us for what could be who knows how long? And I just thought that was interesting. I kind of relate that to having fun because, I mean, granted, there were circumstances. I mean, I was kind of like, this is serious, and I'm managing, wanting to do a good job. And
of course, it's a huge opportunity.
Yeah. But how do you come in and manage like just having fun and being like, hey, and chatting and then going right into this, you know? And I think it was just more about like, the having fun idea is really enjoying the process of auditioning, enjoying being there. And it wasn't that I was so grateful for that opportunity. It meant so much to me, right? So I guess, I don't know. I was kind of like, all right.
You think they would understand that too, but that's another thing that makes me appreciate, though Alan Ball was in the room, that's really cool.
Yeah, it was.
Me appreciate self-taping even more because you don't know that thing that's going to throw you. And maybe they were testing if this guy's on set, will he be able to like memorize his lines after like some direction on set or just hanging out on set or being in holding or whatnot. Wow, that's frustrating.
Yeah, but yeah, you don't know. But yeah, so that is part of my advice. Like the having fun is more just enjoying the process, enjoying that this is what you chose to do, and it's not about getting this job.
I think that also means being in the moment as well. Have fun, be present, and enjoy every moment of it. Yeah,
Yes.
that's great.
Again, easier said than done, right? But
Absolutely. You know what?
Yeah.
Looking at you right now, and thinking back to your Cheers clip, I think you would have been or could be a great Steve Zahn type character. Again, it is
Right.
that kind of, because you have that energy, especially like in that Cheers clip, that kind of fun energy, sort of the
Yeah.
look. I don't know.
Yeah, and I always seem to get just. It seems like the stuff that I seem to book is the guy that, when you don't want it to be on the nose, that he's the bad guy.
Yeah. That could
Where
be fun.
Yeah, like I book a lot of that where it's just like, oh, this is not the guy you would suspect, as opposed to the guy who actually looks like the killer, or
No, that's good casting. Yeah,
Yeah.
to go against
Yeah.
type. Do you have any, when you get on a set, do you have any hocus pocus, anything you have to do to get in the zone, to stay focused, or to have good luck when you're about to shoot a scene or when you arrive on set?
No, I just try and be professional. And I mean, there are sometimes, like, I know some actors, they walk away from set like knowing everyone, and I'm just not that guy. Like, I was always kind of learned to be respectful, right? You don't want to just go up and start being the guy who's kind of bugging the series regulars and stuff like that. I'm just, if sometimes there's cold sets, sometimes there's really warm sets where people introduce themselves to you, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, a lot of times they don't.
Yeah, most of the time, I don't know most of the time, but anyway, yeah, my preparation is just to be professional and to stay prepared. Like, I usually read over my scene. I'm friendly. I go into the makeup, and just and just kind of absorb the atmosphere of enjoying being there. But I don't have like a ritual, except really just making sure that I'm ready. That when
the
when they call
preparation,
me to set, preparation, just going over my stuff again, and then also letting it go. I kind of just mark my stuff and that's it. Because by that point, after I've had the audition, that to me was all the hard work. And once I'm there now, it feels like I've embodied it more.
Yeah, of course.
So now I'm just really enjoying it, and
at that point, you don't have to win them over. They want you there.
I don't have to. Yeah, and that's what I mean. More about, like, for me, the job is the icing, and
agreed.
And I just kind of enjoy it, and I just try and be professional, and just I mean, sometimes I like to go watch a scene if I can, other scenes, and
sure, to kind of see how they work and how the
I
camaraderie,
mean, and it depends. Like, sometimes a lot of my scenes are with the series regulars, and I feel lucky. So you don't really get the opportunity. They're not going to be like, let's run lines.
Yeah,
you get that one rehearsal where they do it for camera and mark everything, and that's probably it. So you want to be prepared. But yeah, that's it. I don't really do any other than just try and keep my nerves in check, and that usually comes with being as prepared.
My kind of, to what you were saying about like the series regulars don't normally want to, they've got a lot of lines to learn, and they don't necessarily chat in or rehearse with you in advance. But my friend Quentin, who you saw interviewed, he was just saying that the series regular, the show that he just got a recurring on, reached out to him, wanted to meet for coffee and discuss the roles and how their relationship would be. I was like, that's extraordinary. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, that doesn't really. Yeah.
Like, how nice to have the ice broken like that, and to know someone's on your side. They want you to succeed for their own greater good as well. And that's so cool.
I don't know. Maybe if we look like him.
Yeah, maybe. I got to work out a little bit and get way younger. So that brings me to, once and for all, your kiss and tell.
Oh, you saved the best for last, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I've got. I want 4 kiss and tell. So let's start with.
Oh, wow.
Fishing pole. And we got all the time in the world.
Okay, fishing pole. Yeah, you can edit, right? Fishing pole was, okay, on the set of Hawaii Five-0. Now, this was actually interesting because Hawaii Five-0 is why I didn't stay in New Orleans longer because all the auditions, even though I had in New Orleans, I booked 2 jobs, and one of them being 12 Years a Slave, but it still was a long time to get like not a huge payday, right?
Yes.
So literally I came back for the summer to LA and suddenly had an audition for Hawaii 5-0. And it was, a top of show guest star. And I auditioned and I didn't even have time to think about it. You know how you're in your head and you're thinking like, oh, I wonder, did I get that? Did I get? Well, I was expecting because, the tape has to go to the producers in Hawaii or something. But literally I heard the next day. It wasn't even that I got put on a veil or a pin. I just heard that I booked it. And I was like, I didn't have time to think about it. And the next thing I know, I'm like flying to Hawaii for a week. And I thought, well, why am I in New Orleans? Like when I could make 10,000 on a top of show guest star, and and then I didn't get another audition for 6 months after that, which was just crazy.
After going back to LA.
After doing Hawaii 5-0, I came back.
And then you went back to New Orleans.
No, I didn't go because I was just like, wait, I didn't go back to New Orleans because I thought, let me stay here because I just booked this Hawaii 5-0.
Yeah.
And then I didn't get another audition for 6 months after that.
Oh, it's just the way it goes.
Yeah. But I know it is, right? But anyway.
Well, you booked it. That's cool.
I booked it and it was awesome. And it was an awesome experience being in Hawaii. And anyway, so the story is that on set, I play a fisherman. And so I'm standing next to the boat, and the scene is that I'm getting off the boat and I'm packing my gear, and I come out, and then the 2 series regulars, Scott Conn being one, and the other one was Alex McLaughlin, maybe his name is. Anyway, so they come out, and the scene is right there. So I asked the prop guy for a fishing pole because we do the rehearsal, right? And basically they walk up to us on the pier in front of the boat, and I asked for a fishing pole to hold a fishing pole. And Scott Conn says to me, well, what do you need a fishing pole for? And I said, well, I'm a fisherman. I just want to be holding the fishing pole. and he goes, well, why don't you just stand there and say your lines? And I was like,
what a jerk.
I don't know. I mean, he just said it in a way where he was just like, hey, just stand there and say your lines. And
so not necessarily in a jerky way, just sort of like in a, I don't know.
Just kind of like, what do you need a fishing pole for? Like, it kind of made me feel like, oh, a little bit like maybe I'm an amateur actor. I don't know. Like I need a fishing pole. Like just stand there and say your lines. Like you don't need a fishing pole, but
you're just trying to make the world more real.
Maybe I'm a method actor. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's the method actor in me that just wanted a fishing pole. Like I'm unloading the tackle, and I like some business, and I don't know. My crutch was the fishing pole. But anyway.
I would have wanted the same thing. Did you get the fishing pole?
Yeah, I had the fishing pole. Yeah, if you watch that scene, I have a fishing pole.
Look, we're trying to be good Samaritans.
Good Samaritans? What do you mean?
About a week ago, we pulled in a haul of mahi-mahi a few miles out. Saw an aluminum skiff tied off to the shark tour boat. Some guy was beating on Jason pretty good. We went over to help, and dude bolted in the skiff.
Okay, all right. And then there were no more comments about your fishing pole at that point.
No. That was just one comment that I thought that was kind of,
weird.
I don't know. That would have
rubbed me the wrong way too. It would have been like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he was other than that, he was a nice guy. I mean, I didn't take it as, it wasn't like a jerky comment. It was just more like he was like, just stand
why
there
would you want that?
Yeah. It was just like, as for a moment, he didn't understand like what I was doing. I don't know, but I did later do my own stunt in that episode.
Was it putting out the fishing line?
No, it was when I was being chased. I was being chased, and they had a stunt double for me. And and I said, I could do it. And I run and I literally hurled myself into the air into all these barrels. And then he tackles me and picks me up and handcuffs me.
working, Connor.
Who's the love?
I'll share in this one.
Thanks, boss.
That'd be so fun. I want to do my own stunts.
I'm just lucky I didn't hurt myself, but yeah. But
who doesn't want to do that? Like the kid in
I didn't
us.
receive stunt pay, but but I did do my own stunt. Yeah, I was like, should I put stunts on my resume?
I think you should. And on your skills and that thing at the bottom. So that
Yeah.
brings me to No Tongue.
No Tongue, yes. That was 90210. This is real quick.
Oh.
And Gabrielle Carteres, who was extremely lovely. But I was brought back, my first day on set. And I was, I met her for the first time. And she shook my hand. And the first words out of her mouth were, because we had a kissing scene. And the first words were, the last guy I had a kissing scene tried to stick his tongue down my throat, and I had him fired.
Okay.
And that was it.
Lesson
And
learned
then-
immediately.
Yeah. And she said it so deadpan. Like, it wasn't like she followed it up with, oh, I'm just kidding. Like, it was just like, that was true. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, well, I wasn't going to stick my tongue down your throat anyway. So,
But you never
think
know,
that's-
like it would naturally could
Right.
happen.
yeah.
So that's
yeah.
nice to have that heads up and not get fired.
I was like, yeah, that's a good heads up. Thank you. You never know. You never know, I guess, what another actor is going to do. But
That may not have turned into 7 episodes otherwise.
yes, that's true. Yeah. But
So-
I think she was just letting me know I could have you fired.
Thank you, former SAG president, for letting him
Yes.
know.
Yes. And, but we had a great chemistry, and she was very lovely. So that was just the hello. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Wow. Like, okay, no
Yeah.
tongue. How about No Tears? Is our next
No
one.
Tears. Yes, No Tears was Without a Trace. I booked a transsexual,
Mhm.
and so I had to cry.
Okay.
And so I get to set, and I'm brought to the rehearsal. And I don't know, I've always been an actor who, I guess, I kind of like save it for the performance. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Yeah. So
Well, you don't want to tap out too early.
you don't want to tap out.
Mm-hmm.
So we did the rehearsal. I didn't cry. I was just kind of, I'm thinking the rehearsal's for camera. Not that I'm thinking, but I'm not going full out. I'm just kind of like doing the scene. I don't cry. And then, I'm waiting, go back to my trailer, and I hear this guy in the next room, which is the trailer of mine was just like, there was, another room only by a divider. So I can hear
Yeah.
the guy. And he's talking on the phone. I realize it's Timothy Busfield, who is the director.
Oh, yeah.
And he's talking to somebody. And basically he's talking like, he's talking about the fact that I didn't cry. And he's reassuring the other person on the phone that I'm the director, and I can, don't worry about it. So I'm like suddenly now panic stricken that
And
he's
you're
actually,
sure they're talking about you.
I'm positive, because they're like, he's saying, I know he didn't cry. Don't worry, he'll cry on the day, like when they shoot, he'll cry.
No pressure at this
No
point.
pressure. No pressure. Yeah. It was like total pressure. So that was just like, I was just like about to have a meltdown. So I was kind of like really nervous, but then I do the scene and I cry, and everyone like claps, like it was like an Academy Award performance.
Tears come.
Yes. And,
Okay.
and we have somebody standing by with glycerin in case I don't cry, or menthol, or blow stuff in my eyes or whatever. So there were no worries. So maybe that took some pressure off. I'm like, okay, if it doesn't happen, then But
Yeah.
anyway, I do the scene, and it's great. They end up cutting that scene anyway. And here's the thing. In this monologue where I'm talking to the therapist, part of the content of the monologue is that the person that I am either in love with or was dating didn't know that I was a man.
Okay.
I am not a pretty woman. I mean, there is no way that you couldn't tell. And so I think maybe they cut the scene because it was just like,
They knew it wasn't believable.
I mean, I had the wig on, and I just was not a pretty woman. I just wasn't.
Yeah.
And so
I'm
I'm just
sorry.
thinking there's no way, I mean, it could have been rewritten, had the scene been rewritten in a way where it wasn't like the other, the person I was dating, didn't know, how could you not know? I mean, so anyway, so that was, I hadn't had the operation yet or made the transition.
And not all people are pretty.
Right.
Not
But the
so-
idea was he didn't know,
Yeah.
So
that could be
it
right.
would have been hard not to know, I think. But anyway, it got cut. And
I'm glad
that
the
was-
tears came, though. I think that was the most important part of that.
yeah. Yeah, because there is that a lot of pressure for that.
That's a lot of pressure. I've been there, and they did not come.
Yeah, where you feel like you have to cry. Yeah.
And it was, and I was tapped out after a very long day. I'm like, there's just not. I tried to stay
Yeah.
primed, and I'm
Yeah.
too tired. It's not
Because
coming.
in real life, we're trying not to cry, right? We're not trying to
Exactly.
cry. And we're usually like embarrassed that we're crying,
So that's what mine looks like. I'm trying not to.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a tip. When you have a crying scene, try not to cry.
That's
try,
what I was
don't
trying
force
to
it.
do.
Don't force it.
We have one more of those, and I can't read it. Is it Kicker?
Kiefer.
Kiefer, that's right.
Kiefer. That was the spoiler alert.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
24.
So it was 24 on the set of 24, and this was going to be my last episode. And so I get to set, and I find out that there's a rewrite, that they're rewriting the scene. And so I asked the director, I said, can I get a copy of the scene? Because, I'm worried about, like, am I going to have enough time to memorize it? What's this look like? Like, I want to get it as soon as possible.
Of course. Preparation.
And, yes. And he says, that's a Kiefer question, and he's not here yet. And I said, okay. So I'm like waiting around. I don't remember what, either a half hour, an hour, and then Kiefer Sutherland finally shows up. And I don't remember how we actually got into it, but suddenly, at some point in the conversation, he just launches into this monologue, and he recites this whole monologue, which is what my character is going to be saying. And then after he's done, he goes, okay. And I say, yeah, okay. And he goes, okay, now repeat it back to me.
What?
And yeah. And I was just like, my heart sank, and I have no idea how I was able to do it.
He was serious?
Just a matter of fact. I mean, he's all about the work and the craft. And I don't know. He just said, repeat it back to me. I repeated the whole thing back to him. I inverted one sentence, and he corrected me. And he said, and he corrected me and repeated the correct version of that sentence. And then he goes, okay. And that was it. And then I don't know how long it took, but eventually I was able to get a copy of the scene and go over it and memorize it. And, but that was just so nerve-wracking. And then when we actually shot the scene, like, he is so about the work. And then when we shot the scene, after we did the first take, I remember, like, I guess I did an actory thing during the take. This is the take where I'm actually confronting him and I'm arresting him. I'm actually arresting him and putting him in the truck. And so when I am arresting him, in the middle of the speech, I'd like turn my head, I look this way. I don't know. It was just like, in my acting, and I took a pause. I looked this way and I delivered the rest of the speech. And after they called cut, he said, I think you'll be a lot happier if you stay with me the whole time when you see it back. Like, he gave me an actor note.
That's
was
cool.
Professional and so cool.
Yeah.
And, he phrased it in a way where I think you'll be a lot happier.
Very respectful. Yeah.
Very respectful. And then we did it again, nailed it. And he goes, are you happy? I mean, he checked with me. He's like, are you happy with that? Do you want another take? And he was so cool about it.
You can't let them hand Josh over to my father.
Those orders come from the White House. Get in the car.
Are you arresting me? Are you charging me with something?
No, Jack. We have orders to place you in temporary custody in order to protect our operation. Don't make this harder than it is.
And, yeah. So anyway, it was just I had a great experience on that show, and of course, I wish I was running into buildings with him all 24 episodes, but it was 4, I think.
And at
5.
that point, you said that was the 4th episode. This experience, the monologue.
That was the last episode. Yeah, that was my.
So
last
you had a camaraderie already because you had worked a few episodes together, so you kind of had a comfort level, I assume.
I don't know if I ever got a comfort level with him. He was pretty much all like he wasn't.
Business.
Yeah, I mean, it was more like he was professional, but
Yeah,
and friendly, but but he was always to himself. Like I think, like when he wasn't on screen, like we weren't taping. He was I think he was playing chess with one of his like guy, like who like they would go off and I think they would play chess, or he was in his trailer. So it was always like you don't call him to set until you last minute that you need him.
Okay.
And yeah, so it wasn't like he was hanging around, like sitting in his chair, and I was next to him, and we were making chit chat, So
yeah.
I didn't really. So that was
That's
one
a
of
cool
the
story.
Yeah, so that was one of the things where it was just like be professional, and like I said, there are some people who walk away from set knowing everybody, and the director was amazing, and I mostly worked with John Kazar. There was one of the other Brad, forgot his last name, but one of the other producers directed an episode that I did.
Yeah.
And I have to come into the building, and I think I'm looking for a bomb or something, and I come into the room and I'm looking around, and the camera is like hidden in a spot, like down by the floor, and I must have looked on the side of the camera where it looked like I was looking directly into the camera.
Oh.
And Brad Turner was the director. And he was like, cut, cut, cut. And I felt like such an amateur. He was just like, you look directly into the camera. Like he kind of
Like
just like, yeah, I was like, I did. I'm like, I didn't even know where the camera actually was, and,
sure.
And
it's funny how those things stick with us.
Well, those things
have a little moment like
that. I thought to myself, is that why they're not bringing me back? Like, and I thought, like, is that why? Like, was I fired? Like, I was supposed to be running into buildings all season. Did I look into camera and like pulled an amateur move? And suddenly, I'm like, what? I'm like, I think. I mean, I don't know.
Just seeing your work, I know that is not the case. I'm sure it's something story-wise because you're so good. You're so obviously very reliable in all the work you've done, and so you carry a depth and a sincerity, and it's really everything I've seen is beautiful work.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm. I mean, the SWAT was the last thing that I had really done, a network television wise. So so I would love to, kind of get back out there and do something like that again.
What is your dream opportunity? If there's a dream opportunity, what would it be?
To be honest, I feel like one of my dream opportunities now has become my writing. Like, I've written like 5 scripts, and I've gotten close on having scripts optioned, and I just finished
TV?
Film. Yeah.
Okay.
Film. Yeah. I did write an episode once of Seinfeld, a spec script, and I had a friend who was best friends with Jerry Seinfeld, and I didn't have an agent or anything, and he sent my script to Castle Rock, and I don't know if I even want to say.
Was this when Seinfeld was still around?
Yeah, it was like the last season, and I don't know if they were struggling for storylines, but then I saw my storyline on an episode, and I was kind of like, because my script was about George getting lifts. And,
did you make money for that? No,
no. I was never even contacted. I'm sure, like they read tons of scripts. It was unsolicited. It was just kind of like, who knows if somebody read it and then pitched it. It's just like you're like, oh, did I? Do I even remember? I don't know. Who knows? But
well, that's interesting.
But anyway, I've written. I just finished this script that I wrote that I was a finalist in a screenplay contest, and so I think one of my dream things now is. Aside from, if something acting wise happens, that would be awesome. Obviously, if there was still an opportunity to work with some of the greats like a Meryl Streep or Robert De Niro. That's one of my childhood dreams, you know.
Could happen. They're still working. So
they're still working. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, right now, I would love to see something happen with the script. You know, I would love to see it get made somehow. I mean, to get like, you know, I have had great feedback on some of these scripts. I've gotten to the Nichols quarterfinals, and you know, and so, you know, it would be great to find a way to see one of these projects get made, you know. So that I think is a current dream of how do you navigate that, you know? Like everybody has like I mean, it's all subjective, so it's kind of like you see stuff get out there that you're like, how did that get made? And you wonder, you know, but like there are things like I have a script and it's just like, you know, if I can attach maybe the right producer, you know, it's a process, and
of course,
and a lot of it has to do with networking, which is what I'm not very good at. So I'm trying to navigate this new kind of.
Well, you know, that's what our friend Bill does. So maybe he can give you, I mean, I'm sure you know lots of other people who are creating, but maybe give you any pointers. But that it's tricky, but certainly don't give up on that.
Yeah, no, he told me he was going to send me his script about the Jerky Boys, and I was wanting to read it. So he didn't send it.
He is very distractible, so definitely reach out to him again, and he will send it.
Yeah,
because I'm sure he'd love you to read it.
Yeah, I would love to read it, so I will reach out to him again. But anyway,
anything you want to promote or talk up or say, hey, keep an eye out for my future projects. Anything else you want to mention before you leave me?
Yeah, I mean, you could follow me on Instagram.
Is that Jimmy Vic 1?
Yes, that's it.
All right, Jimmy Vic 1 on Instagram.
Yes,
cool.
My Instagram and my IMDb. My IMDb could use some views.
James C. Victor.
James C. Victor, yes, on IMDb. So you can click on that and see some of the work I've done. And
there's a lot, everybody, a lot.
So yeah, I got my reel up on there, and I'm redoing my reel now. So try and get some current stuff on there.
Also, if you need any help in that department, just let me know.
Really?
Like grabbing footage or whatever, I'm happy to help.
I actually do. Yeah. So I will reach out to you.
Reach out to me. I'm happy to help, especially if you gave me an hour and 40 minutes of your time.
Oh my God. I pulled a Mike Rad.
No. Yay. No, I love it. Like I could talk with you forever. So I appreciate your time.
That was so much fun. I was just like, how am I going to do? Like, I'm like, am I going to be?
It goes so fast.
It goes so fast. And that was so fun. It was really great to meet you. And are you in Los Angeles? Or?
No, I'm in Connecticut. Actually, hold on one second. Let's say bye to all of them, and then I'll talk to you for a minute more. Goodbye, everyone. Go to Jimmy Vic 1 on Instagram and check out James C. Victor on IMDb. Thank you, James Victor, Jim, for your time. And
thank you for having me.
Bye, everyone else.
These are the parts I play, filling in plot holes with all sorts of roles, 'cause they're